Thanks for tuning into part 2 of my favorite movie soundtracks. If you haven't seen part 1, please click the link in the description below. As a reminder, a while back a friend and I were talking about our favorite movie scores. I started searching through movie scores, trying to find my favorites, and when I was done, I decided to see if I could come up with a top 10. As I narrowed the list, I realized I wasn't looking for my favorite overall movie score, but a track from a movie that encapsulated scenes or moments or overall feelings from movies I love. I only had 2 rules for this list. I could only pick 1 track per movie, and it had to be a track that was originally orchestrated for the film. So no pop songs like in the Guardians of the Galaxy mixtape. When I finished, I decided to write up what made those tracks meaningful to me. So spoiler alert, in this video I may not only have to describe the foundation of the movie, but the overarching plot or themes as well. I'd also like to note that I only have very basic music training, so where I'm talking about the music itself, I'm simply doing my best to communicate how the music makes me feel. Here is part 2 of my favorite movie soundtracks. Mandy Patinkin's role as Inigo Montoya in Princess Bride is one of those landmark performances that follow actors around for a lifetime. It's worth noting that Patinkin doesn't mind. He told a New York magazine interviewer that even though people quote his famous line from the film to him every day, he loves it.
Hello. My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die.
For the uninitiated, Inigo's legend is that he is looking for a six-fingered man who slaughtered his father when he was just a boy. This is one of those rare times that the right actor is in the right role at the right time in their lives. Because for Patinkin, part of him believed that if his character achieved his goal, that Patinkin's own deceased father would come back and visit him. Guide My Sword is Inigo's unofficial theme. It first plays when he sits Wesley down and tells him his story. A single trumpet call carries the tune. Trumpets are frequently the instrument that sound the journey from one world into the next, from life to death. A soft melody plays behind the trumpet. A gentle harp and an occasional chime. The song is like a mythological call lulling us into another world. But it is that single trumpet that elevates us alongside Patinkin's performance, that makes us believe in fairy tales, true love, and that one can swear an oath as a heartbroken little boy and keep it as a man. Apollo 13's main title track is as much about triumph as it is about the potential loss and mourning America nearly faced when 3 astronauts, Jim Lovell, Jack Swigert, and Fred Haise, almost lost their lives in space. It begins with a quick marching drum beat before a lone bugle plays. Eerily similar to the bugle call you might hear during a military funeral. The track then goes between the drums and the bugle, which are then connected by searching strings. This title track is a parable for the human condition, adversity and loss. 3 men are as far removed from humanity as possible in the cold, treacherous jaws of space, while a unified world of hope, prayer, and resolute efforts attempt to bring them home. Rudy may be small, but the music in the film makes his dreams big enough to carry all of our collective hopes, aspirations, and belief in ourselves. Rudy isn't smart enough to attend Notre Dame, and he isn't tall enough to play football there. At least, that's what he's been told all his life. But Rudy isn't going to listen anymore. He spends years trying to improve his grades at a smaller college in order to get accepted into Notre Dame. Trying, failing, trying, failing. It would be painful to watch if not for Jerry Goldsmith's score. Goldsmith starts slow and soft at the beginning of the film, while Rudy is starting his journey. Quiet, yearning strings introduce us to Rudy with a playful, gentle piano. As Rudy tries harder, the strings become louder until the trumpeting brass joins. In the track The Final Game, the strings furiously prance back and forth while the brass thunders in when Rudy makes the final sack of the game. As his teammates carry him off the field, brass instruments rise above the rest of the music to mark his individual triumph, before sweeping into the final theme that reminds us, never give up, never stop believing, never stop chasing, follow your dreams. Braveheart is the tale of famous Scotsman William Wallace, who in the year 1316 rebels against the English rule of his country and inspires his fellow countrymen to fight for Scottish freedom. Feels like parts of James Horner's Sons of Scotland play throughout the film, but the tune accompanies the first major battle in the Scottish Rebellion and the movie's famous speech about life, victory, and freedom. As the track begins, menacing low horns play alongside foreboding trumpets. Then, the English army unleashes its ranks to the Scottish army's view. The Scots stir, lose hope, and some begin to leave the battlefield. Then William Wallace arrives, and the tune changes. A cymbal crashes as he and his men descend on the field. And then the tune changes from foreboding to warm. To the men, William Wallace is a legend. Low trumpets play as Wallace tries to convince the men to stay and fight, followed by light, wavering strings. The men resist at first, but gradually the tempo rises and a slow pulse of drums begins as Wallace rides alongside the army, and you see the eyes of the once distraught men following him as he rides by. They are enthralled with him. This legend is a man just like them who has decided to do something meaningful with his life. As Wallace's inspirational cry is echoed by the men, the bagpipes blare along with an army inspired to fight for freedom. Thanks for watching, guys. What are some of your favorite movie scores? Let us know in the comments below. If this is your first time on the channel and you enjoyed what you saw, please subscribe. There's a new video every month. And if you really liked it, hit that like button, because you'll fill our hearts with gladness and you'll take away all of our sadness. Next month I make a defense of The Walking Dead. See you guys in the next one.